Now we have quite a number of topics that you are supposed to cover. The introduction part to microeconomics. One of the topics that you are supposed to cover is introduction to economics. So under the introduction to economics, we are supposed to look at the meaning of economics, to look at the scope of economics, then we look at human wants, we look at the economic resources, concepts of scarcity and the choice, and then we look at the economic systems. So that will be part of the introduction to economics, and that is supposed to cover. Now the second topic is demand analysis. We are supposed to look at demand analysis as topic 2, and we look at the concept of demand. We also look at the factors affecting demand of a product. So we look at how we can derive the demand curve. Then we look at the shifts and the movement along the demand curve. And then we look at the elasticity of demand and the types of elasticity of demand. So that will mark the end of the second topic. The third topic is supply analysis. So you look at supply. This is the definition of supply. We'll also look at the factors affecting supply. We'll look at the supply curve derivation, so how we can derive the supply curve. Then we look at shifts and the movement along the supply curve. And we'll also look at the elasticity of supply, certain types of elasticity of supply. So that is the third topic. So the next topic is the price determination. That is topic 4. And the price determination, we look at the definition of price, determination of the price, and then we look at equilibrium position in the market. So the interaction of demand and supply gives or give rise to equilibrium. So we'll also look at that. Then the other topic that we'll look at is the theory of the firm. So we have the theory of the firm 1, and under the theory of the firm 1, we look at the production concept, look at the purpose of production, the factors of production and their rewards. We'll also look at the levels of production. Then we look at the law of diminishing returns under the theory of the firm 1. But the next topic is the theory of the firm 2. Have the theory of the firm 2. Under that, we look at the distinction between the firm and the industry. We'll also look at the costs of production, concepts of revenue. We'll look at the economies and diseconomies of scale. Then we look at the factors affecting the location of industry. And then finally, we look at the optimal size of the farm. That is under theory of the farm 2. So the second last topic that we will cover is the definitions of the market structure. Under the market structure, we look at the definition of the market. Then we look at types of market structures. Then we look at the need to control market power. And of course, we look at the ways of controlling power in different market structures. Then the last topic is the emerging trends and issues in economics. We can look at the emerging economic trends and issues. Then we can look at the challenges posed by the emerging economic trend and issues. And lastly, the approaches to manage emerging economic trends and issues. So that will mark the end of that unit. Now the reference books are indicated in the course outline. We have some reference books that we can use. And if you can access the library, and I know some can be found as soft copies, like the third one, which is N. Gregor Mankiw. You can access them as soft copies. So generally, that is what we are supposed to look at under introduction to microeconomics. Now the rest, I think, in topic one, I have attached some notes. I hope you have gone through the notes on the first topic. What we are supposed to cover in topic one is a brief introduction. Maybe you can look at as a brief introduction to microeconomics. You can look at the meaning of economics and some concepts that are applied there. So maybe you can discuss the meaning of economics. And economics is a social science that has been in existence for about 2 centuries now. So we have various definitions of economics. The various economists have given different definitions of what economics is. And we can go through those definitions. So the first one is by Adam Smith. So Adam Smith is the father of economics. They defined economics as an inquiry into the nature and the causes of wealth of nations. So according to Adam Smith, economics can be defined as an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations. The other definition that we can give is that of the material welfare definition of economics. And this was given by Alfred Marshall and Picot. And they defined economics as the study of a man's activities in the ordinary business of life. Now, this definition tries to, or this economics tries to study how man acquires and uses his resources aimed at improving the welfare of mankind. It can be noted that economics is the study of wealth, and on the other hand, more important is the study of man. So those are the two definitions of economics that we can mention. But we also have other definitions that we can give. There is one by Lionel Ropin, 1933, who defined economics as the study of human behavior, as a relationship between scarce resources which have alternative uses. So I think this is a general definition that concerns what is basically done in economics. Economics simply the study of allocation of resources, of scarce resources. One of the characteristics of economic resources is that they are scarce. Because of scarcity, they have to be allocated efficiently. The study on how to allocate the scarce resources is what we can refer to as economics. Now, scarcity, when we talk about scarcity, simply means that it is there but cannot meet the demand. The resources can be there but cannot meet the demand. So the scarce productive resources would include land, labor, entrepreneurship, and by extension, technology used in the production process. So these are economic resources, and all economic resources are characterized by scarcity. The two, they also have alternative uses. Some resources may be having more than one use. We can give an example of milk. So you can use milk to make butter, cheese, chocolate, etc. So these economic resources, they normally have alternative uses. Now, the other characteristic of this economic resource is that they are unlimited. So the human needs are unlimited, and they are recurrent in that when you satisfy one need today, the same need has to be satisfied tomorrow. They also have competitive, uh, they are competitive in nature. Now, because of scarcity of these resources and alternative uses, and of course, they are required to satisfy unlimited ones, then we need to make a decision on how we can allocate the scarce resources. And this will require that the resources be allocated to priority areas. So basically, that is what we'll be studying in economics. We need to know how to allocate the study resources for optimal utilization. Now we can conclusively define economics as the study of how man can use his scarce resources to satisfy his needs. So that is the basic definition that we can give of economics. Now we normally study economics in order to solve economic problems, which is that of allocation of resources among the competing and unlimited ones, in such a manner that the greatest satisfaction is derived. And to do this, the society will have to make a choice on what combination of goods and services to produce, and what therefore to sacrifice. The quality that one forgoes or sacrifice in order to consume more of another is what we basically refer to as the opportunity. So basically that is what economics involves, and we can look at now the concept of scarcity and opportunity cost. So we have talked about scarcity, and I've also mentioned about the opportunity cost. Now, what we mean by scarcity, if the resources available to people is not sufficient to satisfy their wants, then those resources are said to be scarce. They are there, but they are not sufficient to satisfy all the needs of the society. Therefore, such resources are said to be scarce. Now, since we have unlimited wants in the society, and we also have scarce resources, so you may need to sacrifice some needs in order to satisfy other needs. And when you satisfy a need by foregoing other needs, the issue of opportunity cost arises. Now, opportunity cost is simply the best alternative for corn where a choice has been made. So if you have some two competing alternatives, but now the resources you have is not enough to meet, so you may sacrifice one need in order to satisfy the other. Now, the value of the need that you sacrifice is what we refer to as the opportunity cost of satisfying the other need. Now, the concept of opportunity cost arises simply because of scarcity of resources. Now, there is what we refer to as the production possibility frontier, which illustrates that concept of opportunity cost well. Now, that production possibility frontier is simply a curve that shows the various combination of goods or services that can be produced with a given level of resources. So in the handout that is attached in topic 1, you will be able to see that productivity frontier is a curve, and in this one there are two goods that can be produced. So you can produce beans and you can also produce maize. So there are various levels of production. So you can produce, you can decide to commit all the resources that you have towards the production of beans or towards the production of maize, or you can also decide to produce a combination of the two commodities. Now, if you want to increase the production of one commodity, you have to give up the production of another commodity. So for example, if you want to increase the production of beans, you need to give up some quantities of maize that you produce. And if you want to increase the quantity of maize that you produce, then you have to give up some units of beans that you produce. Now that gives you or it illustrates the opportunity cost that we are talking about. So the number of units of the maize that you give up in order to increase the amount of beans that you produce by one bag is referred to as the opportunity cost of producing beans. So the same case applies if you want to increase the units of beans that you produce, the number of units or bags of maize that you give up in order to produce more beans is what we refer to as the opportunity cost. So in your handout, I think it's more illustrated. When you have your free time, you go through the handout, look at that production possibility frontier, and of course, you can understand what we mean by the opportunity cost. So we can also discuss the scope of economics. So the scope of economics. So economics simply involves the study of the problem of production, consumption, exchange, and distribution of wealth, as well as the determination of the values of goods and services. Besides, economics makes an inquiry into the possible causes and the remedies of poverty, unemployment, underdevelopment, inflation, etc. Now, the subject consists of a body of general principles and the theories which may be applied to the interpretation of economic problems, post and the past and present. Now, the fundamental economic problem of all nations that we seek to address is what goods and services to produce, how to produce them, for whom to produce. Now, those are the three fundamental choices that the society has to make. And that is what economics deals with. So what goods and services can you produce? You cannot produce all the goods and services given the scarcity of the resources we have. Then you need to decide how to produce them. We have different methods of production. We have the capital intensive method of production. We also have the labor intensive method of production. So you need to decide which method of production is appropriate under the circumstances. Then you also need to decide for whom to produce. So you cannot produce for everyone in the community. So in most cases, farms produce for those people who have money and are willing and capable of paying for those goods produced. So those choices the society must make. Now, the methodology of economics. How do we study economics? We have two approaches that we can take to study economics. So we have the positive and the normative analysis. Now, the positive analysis is what we refer to as the deductive analysis, and it is more central to microeconomics, and it is normally concerned what is, what was, and what will be. That is the positive economics. That is, it is more specific objective, and it employs economic theory, explaining and predicting circumstances. Now, the economic theories are tested against observations and are used to construct models which predictions are made. So that is the first approach, which is the positive analysis. Now, a theory is therefore a reasoned assumption intended to explain an occurrence or a phenomenon. A model, on the other hand, is a mathematical representation based on economic theory. So we normally make quite a number of predictions in economics or forecasting, and sometimes we need to construct models that can help us predict some things. Now, the other approach to the study of economics is what we refer to as the normative approach or normative analysis, and it can also be referred to as the inductive analysis. And this one goes beyond theory to ask questions. It goes beyond theory to ask questions like what is best, what ought to be, etc. So it is normally subjective, meaning this depends on value judgment, on what is desirable. Now, it is simply concerned with alternative policy actions that help in illuminating and sharpening debates. Now, we have two branches of economics. We have microeconomics, and of course, the second branch is macroeconomics. So microeconomics, which we are supposed to cover here now, deals with the behavior of individual economic units. These individual units include the consumer, we have workers, investors, owners of land, business firms, etc. So microeconomics simply explains how and why these units make economic decisions. For example, it explains how consumers make purchasing decisions and how their choices are affected by the changing prices and income. Macroeconomics also explains how firms decide how many workers to hire and how many workers work and how much work to do. Now, another important concern of microeconomics is how the economic units interact to form large markets and industries. The other branch is the macroeconomics. That is the second branch of economics. Now, macroeconomics deals with the aggregate economic quantities, level, and growth rate of the national output. We have the interest rates, unemployment, and inflation. So the macroeconomics simply deals with the aggregate variables in the economy, like unemployment, output, interest rates, prices. Now, the boundary between macroeconomics has become less and less distinct the years. But this is why, but the reason is because macroeconomics also involves the analysis of markets for goods and services and for labor. Now, to understand how these aggregate markets operate, one must first understand the behavior of the firms, the consumer, workers, and investors who make up these markets. Thus, macroeconomics have become increasingly concerned with microeconomics, with microeconomic foundations of the aggregate economic phenomena. The merge of macroeconomics is actually an extension of microeconomics. Now that is a brief introduction to microeconomics. What you need to do is to go through your notes carefully, read, understand. So I didn't manage to create slides. I think I could have done that so that you can see what we are discussing from your side. Next time we will have slides so that you see the graphs we are talking about so that we move together well.